What is up, folks? The Hobby with Cage, episode 247, brought to you by Arena Club and Bleaker Trading, neither of which pay me $10,000 a month to do the episodes. But let's give you guys some value today. 5 minutes of hobby thought, which will probably turn into more than 5 minutes because I got a couple things to talk about. Huge comeback. I mean, one of the biggest comebacks I've ever seen. No, I'm not talking about the Buffalo Bills coming back on the Ravens. Somebody who's been away from the game for a while, somebody who had some transgressions, and then just out of nowhere, just popped up this past week. Social media just appeared kind of out of nowhere, and looking to make a comeback. And Wander Franco. I posted about it on my story. I don't know if you guys saw it, but Wander Franco, just social media, just posted a video of him working out on the beach, and looking to make a comeback, I guess. And, I guess people are all about second chances in this space. We'll see if they give second chances to everybody. We'll see how that goes. Was a big comeback, though, from Buffalo. That was less Buffalo coming back and more Baltimore doing what Baltimore does. They always seem to find a way to just be close enough to not win. Crazy game. Fun game to watch, though, I got to tell you. This weekend, fun auctions, just auctions all over the place with, crazy prices. And I'm going to talk about the prices in two ways and try to get our hobby thoughts in like 5 minutes. The episode title, New Money is Dumb Money. The money is dumb for two reasons. Number one, let's talk about some of the prices. I had some real thoughts about this, right? There are cards that are selling for prices that just don't really make too much sense. And there are cards selling for too low if you really think about it. And that's going to be my two-part teaser. Number one, I was offered a card by somebody in the soccer space. It was a National Treasures card, Messi. I was offered it month and a half, 2 months ago for less than $25,000. Let's call it 21, okay? And nice card. I don't really think the card is worth it. But what something's worth, of course, is only a matter of, how much two people are willing to fight over it in an auction, I guess. The card was also available at the Soccer Expo, the soccer event that went on, at the National, with a price tag of $25K or best offer. The card is a National Treasures Messi auto out of 10. There are several other parallels. Nothing really special about this card. Like I said, it looks like all the other parallels. There's a lot of them. It's just an auto. There's no patch in it at all, whether, not a player worn, not event worn, not a, game worn, no patch, no nothing, just a National Treasures auto of Messi and, one of the parallels of this card. What does it have going for it? It's 2022. It's Argentina. It's when he won the World Cup. So you can spin that narrative, but there's plenty of 2022 Messi autos, and there's going to be plenty more autos. I mean, there's a ton of autos coming out now. So I look at the card, and I didn't really think it was worth that 21, 22, 25, whatever was being asked for it. Well, it sold for twice that, more than twice what I could have bought it for in Golden this weekend. And, it had me thinking a couple things. Thought number one, cards like that of a GOAT player, a brand that people know, you name it, they probably are doing better at auction. I have a thought as to why. I think the repackers, and I don't have any way of proving this. I guess I'll see where this card shows up. But I've seen a lot of cards that I have thought about buying. Aaron Judge card. You talking about like top name guys, the kind of cards that are chases for repacks. They sit for a while in the private market. But when they go to auction, not only do they sell, but they sell for a price that I think is a little surprising. And keep in mind, I can show you this card if anybody is interested in what this card is. National Treasures 2022 Messi auto. You can look it up. It's in Golden. It sold in the 40s. And I could have bought it literally for less than half of what it sold for. Why would that happen? Why would the card be available to any soccer collector out there who wanted it at the place where all the soccer collectors are? And yet every soccer collector passed on this card and it sells at auction for double. Why? Because I think it's going to be a chase card and a repack. And now, because it didn't sell privately, it's sold publicly with a comp. Important thing here. It now has a comp. Somebody can build a repack around this and say, let's go. Here's the Messi. We have a chase card that's almost $50,000 in our repack, because it has a $50,000 comp. And that's all they're chasing in this, right? It's got a $50,000 public comp. It's sold at auction. It's $50,000. Even though all of the soccer collectors out there, all of the people who know this card, all passed on it for half of that. Now, it's an interesting thing. These soccer knowledgeable people, if they were so knowledgeable about the market overall, myself included, you have to zig here a little bit. You have to be mindful if this is going on, if what I think is going on is, I should have bought the card myself for 21 and put it in golden. And there's a lot of that going on, a lot of that arbitrage going on. If you really think that the comp is so important that people who really don't care about the card itself, they care more about the comp, they're going to overpay for the card so that they can establish a comp and put it in a repack. Think about that. And the interesting thing about it is because people really don't care about the card itself. No one's really going to pay 50 grand for that card. But they will get in an expensive repack to try to chase a card that has a $50,000 price tag that they can immediately resell for 85, 90% back. They'll chase the valuation. They'll chase the cash. They chase the win, the slot machine pull. But no one actually wanted that card for half the price. And therein lies sort of an inherent issue, I think, with sort of the run-up that we have here now and the auction prices that you see. They're starting to get disconnected a bit from the actual cards. Some of these auctions for GOATs, when you see the Ronaldos and the Messis and the Bradys and the Jordans and the Kobes, these are names that people are going to say, oh, look, we got it. We got our heater. We got our beater. We got our winner, our banger, our opal, our diamond, our blezzy, whatever the hell they call the repacks. And it's a $50,000 Messi. But is it? Does it matter? And this, to segue into part two, why it makes sense that this is the kind of card that they would put that kind of price tag on. National Treasures, Messi, 2022 World Cup winner. It's a name, player, auto, set that crosses over. National Treasures is nothing. There's so much 2022 autos of Messi, just regular autos without, a piece of anything, no gear, no nothing. There's so many of those out there. But for repackers who are coming in just chasing a big dollar thing, National Treasures is a big name as a crossover to a basketball collector, to a football collector, to people who are in these repacks. So a repacker looks at this and says, woo, it's Messi National Treasures from 2022, the year he won the World Cup. Boom. That's one I could put a big number on and put in a repack. Whereas the rest of the world who knows anything about soccer all passed on this card because the inherent value of the card, it just doesn't make sense. And I'll do a fun little, comparison. Yesterday, some Dynasty, 22-23 Dynasty, Topps flagship sold for significantly less money, also out of 10, on card, with game used jersey in it. But Dynasty does not cross over yet. When Topps gets football and basketball and they're making Dynasty for those sports, it's going to be a different story. But that doesn't help the repackers today. It's easier for them to tell a National Treasures story than it is for them to tell a Dynasty story that you got to wait for Dynasty to be built into this brand. And Dynasty has game-used jersey pieces in it. But right now, for a repacker, it doesn't have a National Treasures name to it. And keep that in mind, right? Because that's where the new money is the money. That's where stuff is missed. That's where the people who are coming in who are a basketball or a football collector who don't really get the nuance in the sports that don't have that, they're missing it. And maybe that's an area for some value here for you to kind of maybe make some hay in. If you're patient enough and you realize that there are some, if you're a soccer person, using this as an example, just because that's kind of where the episode has gone, there are better products out there than a National Treasures auto. But right now, in the world we live in, National Treasures has a name. It works for the repackers. Some of these auction prices, guys, they're getting out of hand. Some of these auction prices are getting crazy, and you're starting to see the charts again that are like this, and then boom, with a huge spike, and boom, with a huge spike. I have a lot to talk about this week and in the next couple of weeks because there are some crazy cards coming to auction. And these crazy cards follow some public announcements of sale prices for high dollar values. I'm very curious to see what the auction price for some of these cards actually is. Because some of the announcements that you see, this card sold for 1.1, this card sold for 1.2, this card sold for 1.3. I don't buy it. I don't think there was a check written for 1.3 or a wire for 1.2 or cash or whatever it is. I believe these valuations are at least in part cards, trades, consolidations, some money. But we're able to report them as, look at this, sold for 1.2 or 1.3. Auction's a little different. Somebody's got to actually pay the auction house and the person $1.2 million. I think there's some cards coming for auction that, have previously sold for a certain amount. Now you're going to see the supply starting to come out. You're going to see those cards start to come out. That's one of those scary things for me. When you see things that were rare fly and then boom, you get a little supply shock. We've seen it over and over again. Every time one of these cards sets some crazy price, some crazy record, whether it's the Contenders Brady, whether it's the Brady ticket, whether it's the RPA LeBron, the Michael Jordan PSA 10, the Star Jordan, now the Mega Cracks Messi. Man, I mean, I can't spit on the street without hitting the Mega Cracks Messi nowadays. They're everywhere. It's an interesting thing to watch. Prices are still moving up, and I wake up, another episode I'll give you, because we're at 13 minutes of a 5 minutes of thought. I'll give you this week my thoughts on buying, selling, because that changes every day. It really does. It really does. And it doesn't make you any less of a collector or any less of a participant. Hell, this morning I woke up and thought to myself, I should sell everything I own right now, capitalize on the market, and just start over, put the money back in and see what I do. See what other research I can do, what other pocket or other fun little avenue I can go down, and find a new path, a new way to explore and learn and have fun. But that's an episode for another day. I got a lot of fun things to talk about. Fantasy victory, Raiders victory, Yankees back on track. Crazy football weekend. We still got one more Monday night game, tonight, so that should be fun as well. All this stuff be damned. It's an exciting time in sports. It's an exciting time in the hobby. There's plenty of stuff to talk about. I could do 10 episodes today. I hope you feel the energy, because I'm excited about the space. I'm excited about sports, and I'm having fun, and I hope you guys are too. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for all the DMs. I had great conversations with the hobby folks this weekend. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care, everybody.